Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Nick Cicciati, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. So today's guest is Katie Chambliss, a master certified coach and founder of Loving Without Boundaries, helping nearly 300 couples and individuals build thriving, ethically non-monogamous and polyamorous relationships free from jealousy, shame, and infidelity pain. So with over 12 plus years of experience, she offers one-on-one coaching, her Jealousy Survival Guide, which is a #1 bestseller on Amazon, a podcast with over 100 episodes since 2015, and trauma-informed tools blending mindfulness, compassion, core values, alignment, and clear communication. So Katie, welcome to the pod.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here and have a fun and beautiful conversation with you.
I'm excited. Thanks for being here. So
yeah,
take us back, from the beginning, before you started your company. Maybe we have a high level understanding from the intro, but really love to hear it from you. What was it that, really motivated you to start building your own business?
Ooh, what a great question. Yeah, so I will be as succinct as I can, but I would say this is career number 2 for me. So my first career, I was an award-winning graphic designer who worked my way up to art director and creative director at advertising agencies and design firms, which was a wonderful career. I did that for about 28 years. I got to a place in that career, though, where I started to just feel out of alignment with my values. I felt like I was selling things to people that, like doing car ads, and it was just starting to feel not in fully alignment with who I was at that stage of my life. I went through a midlife crisis around that time as well. And some of the backstory, too, is that I joke around that I'm a recovering Catholic. So I was taught shame and guilt. I was taught sex negativity, and I, in my personal life, became a cheating serial monogamist as I was trying to fit my life into what I thought was the only model we were supposed to be doing, which was compulsory heteronormative monogamy. And eventually, on that journey of relationship building, I met the man who is now my husband. And when we first started to fall in love, we met on Match.com. I just said to him, look, I've cheated on every guy I've ever been with. I don't want to cheat on you. I'm falling in love with you. I don't know what that looks like. And he said something very similar to me. We were just very vulnerable and honest with each other. And we said to each other, look, why don't we just try to build a relationship that works for both of us, regardless of what society says, regardless of what our friends and family are doing or what we were taught when we were kids, and just take it from there. And so we were exclusive for the first couple years. And eventually a friend of mine introduced me to a book called The Ethical Slut. And that's where I first learned the word polyamory. And at first, are you familiar with the word polyamory?
Not super familiar.
Okay. Is it okay if I explain what that means?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So polyamory is a type of a consensually non-monogamous open relationship style. And poly is from the Latin word many, and amory means love. So the idea is that you can have the capacity or the desire or the inclination to have more than one loving relationship at a time with the consent and knowledge of everybody involved. So kind of the opposite of cheating, if you will.
Yeah.
And so I discovered that word. And at first I was super excited because I realized all these years I thought there was something horribly wrong with me, or I was a really horrible person, that I was simply geared for polyamory in a world that doesn't know what that word is, or where we're just only taught about monogamy. And so eventually my husband and I built our marriage in that way. When we got married, we wrote our own vows. And so coming back to the career path of that midlife crisis, I did go through a period of my life where I struggled with depression, and I worked with some therapists. I really think it's important to find the right professional for the job of wherever you're at in your life, whether it's a mentor, a therapist, or a coach. And when I went through that process, I realized that my first career was just out of alignment. I wanted to start really helping people and serving the world in a bigger way. And
Incredible.
so I ended up becoming certified as a coach, and then I specialized in relationship coaching
Nice.
and just made a powerful decision
Yeah.
to shift careers. First, I was doing graphic design in this room that you see me in now, but
Oh,
eventually, I totally shifted careers to doing relationship coaching full time, serving the LGBTQ plus community as well as folks who are in some way, shape, or form coloring outside the lines of heteronormative monogamy in whatever way that works for them. So,
incredible.
kind of a long story, but that's kind of how I can make it as succinct as I could.
No, yeah, I love it, and it was very, very thorough. And thank you for the education as well. So, I am curious, like in terms of like your marketing perspective, like what are you doing at the moment to kind of bring in more clients and also like let your messaging be known that like you are out there, you are able to help.
Oh, yeah, great question. It's been a journey. The way it started for me was I started just having a blog back when blogs were the thing to do. It was around
Yeah,
2012. And I eventually started a podcast. So the podcast I started in 2015, and we now have almost 300 episodes at this point.
fun.
Yeah, so pretty amazing. And
Yeah,
just an update from some of the stats that you gave earlier. And also, I eventually started working with some business coaches because I really believe if you're going to be a great coach, you also need to have great coaches.
yeah.
And it's almost like getting an MBA for building an online coaching business with the
Oh yeah.
coaches that I serve. And actually, I saw they were, you're familiar with them. It's Russ Ruffino from Clients on Demand.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, so Russ is a good friend of mine. He's amazing. And there they help me understand how to reach a bigger audience. So first I started with SEO on my website
Yep,
to get into Google searches. But then I also started to do paid advertising with Google Ads. And of
fun.
course, I also have like a master class that people can watch for free before they reach out and book a call with me, so that when we have that call, I can really serve them at a high level because they
Yeah.
have a deeper understanding of what their struggles are and how I might be able to help them. And we can really dive in on that call. So that's all part of how I find people. But of course, I find people through my book as well. I also have a large Facebook community that at this point has almost 16,000 people in it.
Crushing
Um,
it.
yeah, exactly. And I started that
Yeah,
around 2015 as well. So it's almost been like accidental, but then very much on purpose how
for
I
sure.
kind of created a broader reach to find the folks that are really struggling that need my help.
Yeah. Well, I love that you, and I just had another podcast right before this. And we were talking about like the power of leveraging organic presences and group
Mm.
funnels and
Hmm.
even just Facebook groups in general, right? And it takes about a year and a half to 2 years to really start getting that good momentum. But once you have
Hmm.
it built, like it starts to become like this like well-oiled machine where you are endlessly nurturing people in the middle of funnel, and then you're able to like they just have so much awareness as far as like who you are, what you do, right?
Hmm.
They don't need to really worry about like going through like a, top of funnel ad and then having like low trust or anything like that. Like it's all negated, right? But it just takes time. So you can obviously cut the curve by running paid ads in the beginning, and then
Hmm.
having organic as well kind of be like the stable, consistent fire along the way. So I love that you took, really both approaches there. Now, Katie, I am curious, like in terms of growing the business, like over the next, say year from now, what are some of the goals that you kind of have set out?
Yeah, that's a great question. One thing I'm really excited about at this moment is in time is I am actively pursuing doing a TED Talk. So I want
Nice.
to really get on the red dot
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
speak at a more global level. I have done workshops all across the United States and spoken at conferences, even done some keynotes. Yet I want to reach a broader audience and get on a more global stage. Just like you said, I love that you talked about building trust and authority and credibility and
Yeah.
helping people to get to know you and your own personal story to make you seem, be more relatable so that people can see like, oh, okay, she's gone through a similar journey, or I can see myself in her story. So I would say seeking that TEDx talk is really something I'm really excited about. And also to your point, I want to start expanding into more organic marketing. So I've only kind of lately dabbed in TikTok. I am on Instagram, but I want to learn more how to reach a broader audience where folks are finding themselves now on social media. So that's something that I'm doing as well. I am also I have a master class and I want to shorten it because people have shorter attention spans than they did when I first created it, even a few years ago. So I
Yeah.
want to refine my message because sometimes when I get on a discovery call with folks, I'll say, "Hey, did you watch the master class?" And they'd say, "Well, I watched about, the first 2/3 of it, and then I had to move on to something else." And I thought, I need to make this shorter for
Yeah.
folks today. And of course, guest podcasting like this is another great way to get the message out there. And I also started doing local meetups. I'm here in the Washington, D.C. area. So
Incredible.
that's something I've been doing as well as meeting people face to face, really local in my own community and going to network events too, which is how I found out about a local TEDx event happening here in Washington, D.C.
That's so cool. So I am curious then. So, it sounds like your goal here is just like mass exposure, right? Getting your messaging out to every single person possible. Um, I want to ask you like what you think some of the challenges might be. You kind of mentioned one like shortening the masterclass, right? Because attention spans at an
Mhm.
all-time low. But do you see anything else kind of like coming up that might be, slowing you down from getting to where you want to be faster?
That's a great question. It's interesting we're doing this podcast interview right now because right at this moment, I am pivoting and adapting, partly because I realized from Q4 and into Q1 of this year that my particular niche has been unfortunately getting negatively impacted by some of the macro environment, both politically and economically, of what's going on in this country, in the United States,
Yeah.
but also the world right now.
Yeah.
Because what I've seen is folks that would typically be reaching out for help, whether that is folks in the LGBTQ plus community or folks that are wanting to build a different sort of a relationship with their loved ones. I'm finding that people are a little bit more reluctant to raise their hand right now and say, "Hey, I'm different." And then, secondly, from an affordability standpoint, when you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, folks are also just struggling in some ways to put food on the table and just kind of live their lives. And
Surviving.
so, my work is more at that higher level of self actualization. And they, right at this moment, may have some fear or reluctance thinking that working with a relationship coach in a special area like this is more like a luxury item. So,
Yeah.
so that's something that I'm really keeping in mind as well, and thinking about different ways to pivot and adapt in the world because the world's a big place. So I know the folks are there that need me, that can work with an expert coach such as myself. So that's partly why I need to continue adjusting and being resilient as a business owner because we either grow or we die, right? So,
That's right. That's right.
mhm,
Well, grow or die, I think, is the narrative, right? I think adaptability is the one of the best traits you could have as an entrepreneur, right? So,
mhm.
Kitty, thank you so much for joining me today and honestly just sharing your incredible insight and journey with us. So, for anybody that is listening to this right now that would like to reach out to you, whether it be on social media or potentially become a client, what would be the best way for them to go about it?
Oh, it's a beautiful question. I would say simply going to my website, which is lovingwithoutboundaries.com, is a great place to start. There you can find my podcast, also called Loving Without Boundaries, my book called Jealousy Survival Guide, How to Feel Safe, Happy, and Secure in an Open Relationship. And you can learn more about my services. You can find my free masterclass as well. And that's probably the best place to start.
Incredible. Well, guys, that wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go check out Katie on all of the platforms she just mentioned. And don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future. And if you are a business owner and you are looking to scale your business and you really want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we went from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on crushing it, and we'll see you on the next one.